So just to give you a little bit of information about Staffline. So Staffline is a recruitment business. So our vision is to be the UK's trusted recruitment business. So I think the learning and development function within our organisation was predominantly a very much based around qualifications, based around apprenticeships, and perhaps hadn't stepped into the field of kind of self-led learning. And I think, one of the things that I've kind of tried to do as part of our learning strategy is we're very much starting to implement a culture of learning and continuous improvement across our organisation. Businesses or employees look to learning and development to say, well, you are the owners and the custodians of everything learning. And ultimately what we were trying to do as part of the shift in learning culture is ultimately say, actually, we're the handholders and the navigators of some of this stuff, but actually it absolutely needs to be owned and led by the individual in terms of their own self-led learning. So, historically, LMSs are used to being able to drive data and information and reporting for certain aspects. And although that was really, really important to us in terms of our kind of outputs, if you like, one of the things that we kind of really wanted to ensure was that this was about learner experience. And therefore, it was about how do we use a platform to be able to drive the learning culture that we want, but also to shift in behaviour. And therefore, how do we start to, really focus on a platform that's engaging, that looks good, that, that is mimicking the behaviours of people in their home lives. So, that element of Netflix and kind of user generated and kind of AI generated. That for us was really exciting. One of the things that historically is, and it's interesting because I think, quite heavily the world of learning and development is absolutely evolving quite quickly. So, I've talked to Georgia a little bit around, historically, L&D people were people that recommended learning or training or, worked with you in terms of development and solutions. And actually we're now stepping into a space of we need to do all of that, but we also need to be a marketeer and market learning in a really great, exciting, fun way. And almost be recognizing the behaviors of how people are working in the world of now and in the future. And how do we start to almost recognize some of that before it comes, as opposed to waiting and it passing us by, which I think historically has been the case. I think the first ultimately was to enable people to have access to learning in a time that suits them, in a method that suits them. How do we enable people to start self-serving for themselves? Our business is very fast-paced, very pressurized, and therefore, enabling someone to take 5 minutes as and when they choose, and to be kind of the kind of creators of their own time, I think was equally important. What people's interests are, I can see where people's skills lie, but I could also see the things that people are wanting to watch and to kind of have served to them through the platform. One of the real benefits of kind of using Thrive was that we also got some off-the-shelf content, which with some providers you don't necessarily get, or you have to pay extra for. So I think one of the things that was nice is that not only were we kind of joining in a partnership with Thrive, but actually that it enabled us to also serve some exciting content to our people straight as soon as we launched, which was really great. The feedback has been absolutely great around kind of the interaction, the level of sophistication, I would probably say, around some of the e-learning and kind of the testing of learning that sits within that kind of stuff, particularly, when you're looking at some of the health and safety and the more kind of mandatory elements. I think, so even before our launch, one of the things that we absolutely wanted to ensure that we did was engage our people before we even started. So a big part, and I talked earlier about marketing, a big part of our kind of implementation strategy and plan was around how do we build excitement across the business and across the organisation around what was coming, so that people were automatically bought into and excited about using the platform ready for launch. The second thing that we did, it was, part of our whole plan around bringing in an LXP and using Thrive was to ultimately change, as I said, the learning culture. And part of that was enabling our employees to have a view and a say and help understand and shape what the platform looked like. I think one of the things for me has been absolutely the level of engagement and curiosity that's generated. So, and please don't get me wrong, because there's still absolute room for improvement in terms of people kind of accessing the platform, but we're at a 71% response rate, if you like. So in terms of response rate, we'd probably say that, we've got probably around 650 employees actively using the platform at the moment. So we have a headcount of 900 or just over 900. So we've absolutely got growth to continue to get some of those people. But, for me, there's a level of engagement and interest. I think we've had over 9,000 pieces of learning completed, or people who have started through their continuous learning journey, if you like. People feeling the platform was going to be policed and that they weren't able to generate and share their own content. So I think that was in launch, one of the things, and I'm being really honest in this conversation, that we got asked quite a lot was, how are you going to police what is being posted? And I think, one of the things we actively went into this wanting was that everybody had an opportunity to share their own learning with somebody else that they felt could also benefit. As long as you can ask yourself two things: is this content valuable to the organisation, and will it help a colleague or another person learn something that I've learned? If you can answer those two, then post it. I think one of the biggest moments for me was when we had, I've had a number of kind of experienced managers reach out and say, Barry, can I do this? Can I post this? Can I create something to share? Because I'm recognising there's a gap of people in my team. And that for me was just like music to my ears. And if we could bottle that and pass it round, then that would be great. We absolutely went and looked at a number of kind of LMS, LXP providers, if you like, or people in the learning space, the digital learning space. And I think one of the things that we actively really loved about Thrive was the level of innovation and the opportunity to work with an organisation that was perhaps starting on their journey, that had absolutely seen a space in the market that absolutely wanted to make learning fun, engaging in a way that people were connecting, and it was about the user experience versus the other element of kind of data-driven, a system to measure mandatory stuff. So we had gone to some of the big providers, and I think what we found we were getting was not a lot for quite a lot, if that makes sense. I think the thing that we loved is, I had a huge wish list. Some of the things that Thrive have been able to say, yeah, we can help you with. And some of the things, we've kind of said, well, no, we can't. But that absolutely is part of our kind of roadmap and our journey. And I think it was at those conversations did we then start to explore, okay, so, well, show me your LXP then. And I remember having a meeting where actually that kind of conversation completely evolved. And it then evolved into a place of, actually, we loved the platform, we loved the kind of ethos and sense of what the organisation was trying to achieve. And ultimately, we came down to two providers that were very, very different, but it was effectively the relationships that we built with Thrive and the people at Thrive that almost enabled us to say, actually, we want to go on this journey with you. And we know you're not the biggest or the market leader at the moment, but we absolutely can see the potential, and we can see how we can help influence some of the roadmap around what people are wanting from a platform, as opposed to just being given or sold this is the solution and not being able to influence some of that. So absolutely, really, really valued that level of honesty and transparency around kind of the negotiation of the contract, but also around how we then work together in the future. one of the things that we've really recognised as we've kind of gone into this kind of implementation of an LXP was the support and kind of service that we got from everybody. So, you know, I still now get messages from Tom, who wasn't part of the implementation, but actually absolutely kind of keeps in contact. The support from Georgia and the kind of the project team in terms of, you know, the number of workshops that we've done, and I think, you know, we've always been able to kind of provide real kind of honest and frank feedback to some points, you know, to some points where it actually, you know, this isn't working for us, or actually could we do this differently, that we've absolutely found that, you know, it's around getting the best out of the situation, and just because the process is the process doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work. So absolutely kind of couldn't fault the service that we've had, the responsiveness in terms of kind of email questions, or can I quickly grab you for 5 minutes on a call, and everybody's really, really keen to help, and ultimately kind of see this as not just our success as Staffline Recruitment delivering an LXP into their business, but also in terms of, you know, Thrive, and how can you guys help us do that, and ongoing, you know, strategy to embed and deliver learning in our organization, not just delivering a platform to us. So that was really, really helpful. So I think, so kind of what's next for us, I think, you know, one of the things that, you know, we talked to Georgia and the guys about is, you know, for us, it was never just about a big launch. It was always about how do you consistently drive a platform and embed a platform even after you've had the big bang and everything's kind of gone. Innovative, engaging, and I think the final one is curiosity.